intro. Oh, the intro's still not working. We're going straight in, Hobbit. Cold open.
Oh, going in dry. Ugh.
Yeah, we're going in dry.
Oh dear.
I think I need to put
Is it working on the rumbles now?
I don't know. Are we working on the rumbles? Let's have a look.
Oh, good. Well, we live, and it's called TBC.
Yeah, we're going in dry. Yeah, we're music's working on the live. Yeah, TBC because past 2 episodes I think we really planned, did we? And this is a new one.
TBC stands for Total BBC Corruption.
Yeah.
The spooky case of the corruption of the BBC.
To be clobbered.
Yeah, so
to be clobbered.
Everybody, we are live on Rumble. Right. There's a term for it, I'm sure, but if statues could cry, and why? Why do they do that?
Weepy statues.
What's up with the statues of the Virgin Mary? Why does she cry? Does she cry?
Most of it hoax, or in the case of there was a.
That sounds like Protestant propaganda, if you ask me. Richard Dawkins says it's all a hoax.
Well, there was Only Fools and Horses about a crying statue. Do you remember?
I don't actually. There was a lot of episodes of Only Fools and Horses, wasn't there? Because I couldn't find most of them, and the one I always liked was they did the one where they go abroad and then they have Chaz and Dave singing Down the Margate.
Margate. They don't go abroad; they go to Margate.
Oh, what about the episode where they go abroad and they're like, God, they drive fast here. Look at that; it says 110, and they're bombing down the.
Do you mean the time they went to Spain, or do you mean Miami twice? Do you remember Miami twice? Where Del was a ringer for that mob boss.
No, not that one. But no, they were in France because I remember that they're in this resort next to the swimming pool, and Del goes up to this French bird and he says, "Oh, mange-tu?" It's like, "Ah, tu parles français? De quel coin de la pays tu viens?" And he was just like, oui, comme ci, comme ça. She was asking, what part of France are you from? Mind you, with that cap, he looks a bit French, so I could understand that, you know.
Apparently the character Dale was based on an electrician that he knew.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Are you telling me it's the sort of electrician who go, you don't need a plug for that. Just wrap the copper wire around some matchsticks and stick it in the socket. It'll be fine.
Yeah, probably that kind of guy, yeah.
I saw a PSA. It was one of those like recorded cartoons from the 80s.
They do these PSAs on TikTok now, don't they?
Well, this was a
We've
PSA.
We've got everybody unawares, Hobbit. Like nobody's chatting.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell PSA for those that are just joining us now, if you are joining us. Back in the day, we used to have these things called cassette tapes, and you could record stuff on them, and VHS was the popular format.
Do you remember when the government's job was scaring the shit out of kids?
Yeah, because here's something I remember from back then. Now, I think it was the early 90s. The BFG was on
one. Like, whenever I think of stuff like that, I always think of the Frisbee one.
Well, the one I remember was, for goodness sake, use a plug. And it's showing this electrician, and he's drilling, right? And now, I might even find it on YouTube, actually. He's using matchsticks to push the wires into the socket. Let me see if I can find.
Actually, did we do Our Lady of Fatima last week? I don't think we did we?
We sort of briefly touched on it, but UK PSA use a plug drill advert. Let's see if I can find that.
Once around.
This would have been like in the. This would have been like the early 80s or something, and No, that's not right. So, UK safety adverts. Use a plug. Use an earthed plug. Earthed plug. Let's see if
Well,
that brings it up.
I can't bother to play it. So just if you just watch it and describe the full horror to the audience.
So I'm watching. This is the one, right? So this is from the 1970s,
Yeah,
and he's got a bunch of matchsticks in his mouth, right? And
yeah.
what he's doing is he's putting them
A
into a
proper
socket,
lad.
and he's using a screwdriver to hold open the earth pin. Now, here's a thing for foreigners that live in third world countries where you regularly get electrocuted.
Like
You see,
America and Canada and Australia. But what do Australia do? Do they have decent electrics?
they don't have a protective earth shroud like we do, but it's a little bit better than the United States. Funny enough, what they took from the United States was, the angle splayed splines they use. That is a North American standard which never got adopted over there. So the Aussies took it because it's like, well, that's good because you can't mix the polarity around. So anyway, what he's doing is he's using the screwdriver in the earth socket in order to open up the shroud
Yeah,
because
but
you see,
if they're not doing that,
in
everything
the,
should be class 2, shouldn't it?
in the UK, it is physically impossible to touch live or neutral unless you've got something in the earth.
Yeah.
And this is the great safety feature of our sockets.
It's not as
This
good
is
as
why
the
I get
real safety feature where you put a plastic socket in there, so that
yes,
guard then opens up.
like my mate insisted on having all of his sockets when he had babies, and I was like,
Yeah.
can I just show you the safety features in our sockets? How what you're doing is making them less safe.
Hmm.
And even after I show him that, he was just like, yeah, but the missus will be upset if I take them out, so they got to
Yeah,
stay in.
but
It's
the
like,
missus wants the kids
okay,
dead, so
yeah, it's just like, you know what? I hope your kids stick your fingers in the life socket now that you've opened them. So anyway, he's got he's got his things in, and he's using his drill. He's got the thing, and it's deadly dangerous. He's saying he's moving back. The wires are moving. Oh, the earth's come out. The earth's come out. So the earth's come out. Oh, and the earth has just touched the live, and now the case of his drill is electric, and because he's gripping it, he can't take his grip off, so he's dead. He's proper
fucking dead. You
brown,
cunt, to quite a wise man.
he's proper brown bread.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing as well. Like someone else is trying to help him, like take the drill off, and he gets a nasty shock too. So
Yeah.
electricity can kill. Don't take chances. Look, you're not in India anymore, mate. Don't use matchsticks to stick your wires in.
Have you ever heard the one where the bloke's got the kettle on, Mrs. comes down, sees him like jiggling about, so she whacks him with a rolling pin to get him away from the thing. Turns out he's listening to headphones, and that was what the wire was. Whoops.
Oh, okay. Well, a lesson can be learnt from this is, for goodness sake, use a plug. Well, this is a thing as well. This is something that is unknown to people.
Dom,
but
it's
back
you.
in the day,
we've checked it, Dom. It's you. It's not us.
Back in the day,
he's saying the volume isn't working on Rumble again.
Have you tried turning the volume up on your end?
Yeah, it's a you problem, Dom. We've checked it. We've already checked it.
Back in the day, it used to be. I'm just going to stop listening. Yeah, it's working on the YouTube as well. This is the thing, right? Back in the day, and I don't know when they changed this, but devices were sold to you without plugs. So it was up to you to put the plug in yourself. And was this a safety feature? Was it to sort of say to people like, "Oh, what about the episode where they go in yourself? You choose the correct size fuse." I don't know why devices were sold without plugs, but eventually, sometime in the early 90s, plugs became the standard feature on electrical appliances.
Is it law? It's like EU law, isn't it? Molded plugs. Like the EU go too far with some stuff, but
yeah, but even like in the 2000s, you could still get stuff with removable plugs.
Yeah.
When did the UK make plugs mandatory? might not have made it mandatory. The plugs in 1994, the plugs and socket safety regulation 94 requires that domestic's main power appliances are fitted with a standard plug. So before 1994, there was no. It's like you sell them the wires and you expect the end user to put a plug on themselves.
Yeah. Is that so? That so yeah. It's 1994 when people became retarded then.
Yeah, more or less, because after then, yeah, it was round about the time they were taking ecstasy and they made the Criminal Justice Act so that you couldn't use sampled music anymore. And then they voted in Labour.
Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro Digital Gaming president resigns after numerous Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragon controversies. Is this going to be better or worse for Wizards of the Coast?
I'm wondering if they're like, oh, Games Workshop, hold my beer. We'll come and take you out of the limelight.
Mm.
We can definitely talk about the Fortean aspects of miniature wargaming.
I think we did the big episode on. I can't believe it's not Dungeons and Dragons, didn't we?
What did we talk about in that one?
We mostly talked about how they just ripped everything off.
Oh yes, we did. Right. Well, here's the thing. I don't think I mentioned in that show, and I'd be happy to mention it again. Wargaming, as in men playing with toy soldiers on the map, actually can predict and counter real strategies used in real battlefields. An example of which was there was this division of the Admiralty which were wargaming how submarines attacked convoys or individual merchant ships. And because the reports were fed back to them that while we notice in these wolf packs that there's one submarine which seems to be separate from the rest, and torpedoes are coming in at a different angle. They're not coming from this one where we can see its periscope. And they figured out by wargaming that what that one that was off at a distance was doing was being the spotter for the striking submarines. And as a consequence of that, they were able to better redistribute where destroyer escorts ought to be in a convoy. And merchant navies after that was sunk significantly less. So this was just like, oh, what's the point in playing with toy soldiers? Well, it turns out playing with toy soldiers saves people's lives, and that's why female custodies are not a thing.
Talking about saving people's lives, the NPR's far-left CEO, Catherine Marr, has said, our reverence for the truth might be a distraction that's getting in the way of finding common ground and getting things done.
In the words of the Virgin Mary, come again.
Oh, do you want me to tell you again, Hobbit? Right, I'll say it slower this time so you can get it. So, NPR's far-left CEO, Catherine Marr, says, our reverence for the truth might be a distraction that's getting in the way of finding common ground and getting things done.
Right, explain that to me like I'm a golden retriever and I'm currently suffering from heat stroke.
She said this during a TED Talk as well, Hobbit. Basically, telling the truth, it just gets in the way of other things. So, probably a good idea if we didn't bother with it anymore. Is that what they're trying to say? This seems to be.
This is the culmination of, don't let facts get in the way of my feelings.
Don't let facts get in the way of a good story.
Oh. But it's a little... I was wondering if that was on my end or if that was on the playback end, but I just heard my voice going... that sort of audio. I'm listening back on Rumble, just checking to see if it's working, because I don't think Dom is trying to troll us everywhere. Yeah, well, he says other Rumble videos are working.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know. It's working our end.
Something is fucky with Rumble, though.
Is it?
Yeah. The Rumble stream... Hang on. Let me just go back. That's fine.
Yeah.
Forwarded cartoons. That's fine. Tell PSA for those that are. Yeah, he's right. We used to have these things called. I think stuff like that. I always think of the frisbee.
Sounds like it's working.
There is something fucky with the Rumble playback. I don't know what it is. I think it's when I skip ahead. That's when it does this sort of like error noise. But either way, it seems to play back after a while. So
yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, maybe so. This is the problem, right? YouTube works, but like the technology is fine, but the ideology on it is fucked.
That's the flesh is willing, but the spirit is weak. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. The flesh is winning, but the spirit is of the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, plugs, wargaming. There's no such thing as female custodies. Dungeons and Dragons and Wizards of the Coast CEOs resigning. It's not been a good week for those that have hobbies. Although that said, I was quite pleased that people that do wargaming, because I said, well, we should make our own Warhammer 40,000, but with blackjack and hookers. And they said, oh, look, it seems that somebody's already done what you've suggested. In fact, more than one person suggested what I've done. One of them is literally a picture of Bender dressed up as a pimp, and it's called Tabletop Wargaming, but with blackjack and hookers. And the other one's called Grimdark Future, which looks like a lot of fun. It includes factions you don't see in 40k. And I haven't read the rules yet, but I was very disappointed. You see, I'm only familiar up to, I think, 4th or 5th edition of the rules. And because I was asking some people that play the games recently, like, what's up with blast template? Why don't you use blast templates anymore? And they said, oh no, what you do is you aim your artillery or your flamer at a squad, and you roll a random number of dice to determine how many you struck. And I was like, but that's not how artillery works. And I was like, oh, they did it that way to streamline and make it easier for players. Like, what you're talking about? Artillery should be difficult. It should be like, using artillery or flamer should reward those that can strategically plan things. Like, if you can encourage your enemy to like bunch up in a certain area and fire some artillery, like when they're in the building or something, it's like, well, now you've just blown up their entire squad. That's the point of artillery. It's good in situation. But anyway, wargaming. What's that got to do with statues that cry, I hear you ask? Well, I'm not sure if I can thread the needle, but shall we talk about statues what cry?
Let's talk about statues what cry.
Do you like my
we talk about other stuff what cries too.
What, me, when I've been kicked in the bollocks?
Yeah.
That hurt. Oh, well, we can talk about how, actually, yeah, but let's just do it briefly. Last year, I participated in a pain study Oxford University was running. And I found it was interesting because they're saying, oh, we're going to use this VR device on you, and then we're just going to monitor your responses to pain. And it's going to be pain for your electrical induction. And what's in the box? Pain. And pressure cuffs as well. So the VR was like an Oculus headset, which was a bit of a tight squeeze to put on because they put the electrodes on your scalp, and after you get the electrodes in, they put the goggles on you. But it was this, and I said, who designed this? Oh, one of the undergraduates, they designed the scene for us. And I thought, yeah, it looks pretty good for a sort of my first 3D project. It was like a forest scene with some mountains in the distance, and you'd have these foxes which would walk towards you, and they'd have different colour hats on. They were miner hats. And then a rock would fly towards you. It was very sort of like, I don't see what the fox and the rocks have got to do with one another, but I'm guessing whoever designed the program was having some fun. And if you'd have a rock flying from the left-hand side, it would zap your left hand, and then it would either zap your right hand. But occasionally a rock would fly towards the middle, and when it did, I'd flinch because I thought it was going to hit me in the bollocks, and sometimes it felt like it hurt. even though I said after the test, I said, when the rock flies in the middle, is any pain impulse sent? It's like, no, that's just you anticipating pain. It's like, right, okay. And I said, just looking at the waves there, did you see a greater response with the centre one than you did the left or the right? They said, oh, well, we'd have to average it out. But yeah, we saw the gauges going wobbly when it happened. And I was like, yeah, it'd be interesting to compare that with men and women because I don't think women. Well, it depends. Women, I know you listen to this show. If somebody was to throw a rock at your crotch, would you flinch?
Yeah, of course you would.
Because as a man, speaking as a man, if someone throws something towards your crotch, you're going to flinch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of flinching, can you imagine being an insurance company in Dubai right now?
Wow. They'll probably say, no, we're not going to cover that. It's an act of God. But then they could take them to court as a class action lawsuit and say, well, it's not an act of God and it's not climate change.
Well, they don't believe in Allah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Alan. Alan, you see, has been involved. Alan Snack Bar has been involved in cloud seeding. That's a big thing over there. You see, they get some now. If I mention the word, we're going to get a disclaimer on this.
Like portion of Games Workshop now.
Yeah, well, of course they do. I'm not going to mention the word, so I'm going to use the other term for it. It's called stratospheric geoengineering, and aerosols can be sprayed into a sky in order to induce rainfall. And it's worked rather well in Dubai, and that's why they're getting flash floods. Also, being that the desert dwellers, they don't understand things like drainage or flash flooding or having hedgerows in order to mitigate flash flooding because where you can grow. In fact, one of the things I saw in there which quite upset me was there was this tree and it got uprooted by the rains because its roots weren't that far down. And I thought, well, that's really sad, you know. You've got all this water and like the trees just being washed away by it.
Yeah, it's kind of. Did you know that's climate change? When the weather changes, that's climate change, Hobbit. That's, you see what you do. You change it from global warming or global cooling to climate change. So when you go, look, there's some weather, that the climate has changed.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, but also, cloud seeding. I'm not going to use the trails what may have chemicals in them term because I don't want the fag packet warning to come up on this episode.
Yeah. Oh, you just said fag.
Yeah. Yeah, well, fag packet, that's okay.
I don't know. Apparently, it's a bad word.
Is it?
The Americanization of our country.
Oh, yeah, well, fag.
Again, more of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, these days, fags are being marginalised, aren't they? They keep saying on the NHS, like, you can get help to stop smoking whenever you start mentioning it. Like, I don't know about you, but it seems like about 20 years ago, that's when they were seriously pushing people to stop smoking. And that's when all these respiratory diseases came in. Now, I'm not saying the two events are related, but also, actually, 100%, I'm saying the two events are related.
Steven Spielberg's doing a new movie. It's going to be a UFO film.
Wow. You know, like Steven Spielberg, he's never done that before, so I'm sure that'll work out fine for him, won't it?
Yeah. Well, apparently, there were CIA people at the screenings to either E.T. or the other one, E.T. or no, I think it's Close Encounters, and apparently they were heard saying you don't know how accurate that is.
Oh yeah, I've never watched Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Why is it called the Third Kind? What's the first and second kind?
It's a gradient of what actually happens. Close Encounters count types. Let's see if types comes in. I'll take it you didn't know. You don't know what close encounters are then. So a close encounter is an encounter with a UFO. Come on, wakey,
right.
For fuck's sake. So there are. I think there are 4 types.
Now, just in case anybody's concerned listening to us, it seems that we both have had a 3-course meal of sweet and sour chicken from the local Chinese.
That's why one we had 2. That's why 1 we had 2 weeks off, and 2 this show is probably going to be about an hour.
Yeah, and Fraser died.
Yeah.
Because they put heroin in his sweet and sour chicken.
Yeah, Fraser's dead. I think he is anyway. He hasn't been seen for a while.
No, he's dead. We were going to do a memoriam for Fraser later on.
Because my thing's being fucky.
Yeah, what am I looking for?
Just type in something like Close Encounters types, and it'll tell you what Close Encounters the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th will be.
We will be doing later on a memoriam for our co-host, Sir Fraser of Mad, because he died. He's dead, and
is DuckDuckGo being DDoSed or something? Because unexplained mysteries I got straight onto. DuckDuckGo
probably
can't get onto it.
I'm using Brave Search. I keep meaning to change it to Microsoft Bing, but I get different search results from Bing than I do DuckGo or Google or the Brave Search. Are UFOs real? Close encounters of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd kinds.
Yes, that's what you want. Something like that. Something that explains what the different types are.
Yeah. So let's have a read of this one here. And so, Let's see
if I can get onto Bing.
Right. This was the definitely not a stolen car stereo listing I saw on eBay, and Spurgs has just replied with, "That's more retarded than selling duty-free imported tobacco on Facebook." You don't have to be a Steven Spielberg to recognise the famous scene: a giant a giant wet-ass UFO hovering over Wyoming's Devil's Tower, dotted with bright neon lights against a black sky. It's from the 1977 movie Close Encounters of the 3rd Kind, and it's a perfect example of Hollywood science fiction fantasy. Or maybe not. Do. What's more iconic?
I found the Wikipedia on it here. If you want the Wikipedia, Hobbit.
What's more iconic? The Twilight Zone, do, or the X-Files jingle?
How about that from?
I don't think I can do an X-Files jingle. I can't do it. What's do. No, I think Twilight Zone's easier because it's just do. That's easy to do.
You haven't seen Close Encounters of the 3rd Kind, have you? And that's because they're speaking to the aliens through the medium of
music
synthesizers. So they go do.
Yeah, and then it turns out the alien's actually a parrot, so it just goes hello. Hello. So, okay, Close Encounters of the 3rd Kind is fiction, but it's inspired by more than just a smart screenwriter. According to the Mutual UFO Network, which is known as MUFON, and the National UFO Reporting Centre, which is NUFORC, which is NUFORC, so it's Nuff Orcs. Enough respect for orcs. The remote Northern American West is a hot spot for reports of alien encounters. Of course, not all are close encounters of the 3rd kind. Like the 1977 film, if you're lucky enough to see a creature of this other world, congratulations.
They're not creatures, they're fucking people. What a fucking bigot.
But what about close encounters of the 1st and 2nd kind? What are those? Brackets. We'll get to that in a minute. Close brackets. And who came up with them? So J. Alien Hynek, yeah. J. Alien Hynek, his name is J. Allen Hynek. I misread that as Alien Hynek and UFOs. A UFO encounter and classification
system. Is he the guy that
system
invented the maneuver?
The J turn.
The Hynek, no, maybe. The Hynek maneuver. You know, when someone's
choking.
the
J. Oh, sorry, I was just thinking.
Is that when an alien's choking? You do the Hynek maneuver.
You know, you've got handbrake turns, and like you've got to park your flying saucer by putting the handbrake on, but then turning around 180 degrees and coming forward a couple of yards.
You got to buzz. You got to buzz people in the middle of nowhere.
It's a J brake maneuver that you have to do that in order to get to the second stage of the international license in Gran Turismo. I hated the licenses in Gran Turismo. There was just like the races were easy enough, but then it's like, oh, if you want to do the next race series, you got to pass your driving license, and one of them was like, okay, you got to accelerate for 100 meters or yards, whatever it is, and then you've got to brake, and you've got to, when you brake, you've got to fit exactly within this fag packet of stopping distance. If you're over or under by one cigarette, you're fucked.
Yeah.
So, UFO encounter classification system may seem like it was made up by.
Well, it does say there's before you get to close encounters of the first kind, which is. So it says there's a couple of things before that. So that's nocturnal lights, which are lights in the night sky, in case you didn't know, Hobbit. Daylight discs. Daylight discs, which are UFOs seen in the daytime, just in case you didn't know, Hobbit.
That's good.
And then there's radar visual. Can you guess what that is, Hobbit?
Would it be those that have been spotted during a ayahuasca ceremony when you're deep in the Amazon rainforest?
Incorrect. They're UFO reports that have radar confirmation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like my one.
Yeah. So there's those three incredibly difficult to remember things before you get, and then you get to close encounter of the first kind. So take it away, Hobbit.
So there's a bit of conjecture here by the editorial that I don't appreciate, saying the UFO encounter classification system may seem like it was made up by RV dragging. Don't know what RV dragging means. Desert dwelling conspiracy theorists.
RV dragging. RV dragging. That would be a recreational vehicle. So that would be like a Winnebago or something like that.
Is there like a hobby of dragging RV vehicles? I know, I just said it twice.
I don't know. I think it's like, is it some sort of slur for trailer trash?
RV dragging. Desert dwelling conspiracy theorists, I suppose so. Created by J. Allen Hynek, a well-respected astronomer, defense researcher, and inventor of
well respected by the person that wrote this article.
Yeah. Also, he's director of the Ohio State University's Macmillan Observatory.
He's credentialed. Why on earth is a journalist disparaging someone who's credentialed?
Yeah. Because he's saying that his UFO classification system's a bit kooky.
Yeah.
The US Air Force approached Hynek with concerns about a growing number of reports of unexplained.
4.3 says sound keeps dropping on Rumble. There's nothing I can do about that. It'll either restream or it won't. Like there are no separate settings. There were no separate settings for Rumble, so I don't know. Rumble don't like us.
Bit shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
He says back to YouTube where you can't say fuck or bugger. What a bugger!
Oh, fuck.
Indeed. And bugger.
Yeah.
So that's it. But the public didn't caught the American zeitgeist. Hynek continued to study well-publicized UFO sightings and consult in the Air Force Project Blue Book. Oh yeah, that's an interesting thing. Have we talked about Project Blue Book before? Not to be confused with Project Blue Beam. But it wasn't until 1973 in October when he investigated a Pascagoula, Mississippi, case in which two men, excuse me, I got a burp, which 2 men reported being abducted by aliens, and he had decided there should be a classification for UFO
What type of
sightings.
aliens? Is that's like the thing of saying a man mugged someone? Like, we need to know what type of aliens they were.
You mean the lunchtime rowdy or scholarly jogger?
Yeah.
Subway menace. I believe the only description given to these aliens were they were illegal. Hynek believed the men were truthful and even gave the press sketches of the aliens who took the men hostage. He launched the Center for UFO Studies, or known as CUFOS, soon after, or CUFOS. Classifying UFO counters. The Mississippi event also prompted
What the fuck? Samantha Davis, the wife of Star Wars legend Warwick Davis, has sadly passed away at the age of 53. Has he died? I thought he died as well.
Oh, thought we were... So we're doing a memoriam for...
It was the wife that died, not him. I thought it was him that died.
Well, we'll do a memorial for Warwick Davis because it's what he'd have wanted, and also for Fraser. And they're going to be buried in the same coffin because there'll be more than enough room.
Yeah, there will be, yeah.
Faggot packets are now J-turns. Hobbits triggering all the minority groups.
Before we get into any more crying statues, did you know a Brazilian woman prayed to a figurine of Saint Anthony for years, only to discover it was an action figure of the elf Elrond from Lord of the Rings films?
I could believe that. Who was it that thought they had a statue of Jesus, but actually it was it Chuck Norris or something? Or, no, I think it was King Aragon from Lord of the Rings. That's it. Mistook it for Jesus, which is, I mean, worse comparisons could be made. At least he's not black. So 3 types of close encounters in his 1972 book, The UFO Experience, A Scientific Inquiry. And so you've got close encounter of the first kind. Someone simply observes a UFO but leaves no evidence. Close encounter of the second kind. A UFO leaves physical traces it was present, such as burns on the ground or broken branches. Close encounter of the third kind. A person makes contact with a UFO or other life form. A close encounter of the first kind is a visual sighting of... Oh, well, we're going to have a whole paragraph explaining what these sentences are. A close encounter of the first kind...
Do you want me to do it simplified, Hobbit?
Well, bear with me. I'm almost done now. Yeah. The second kind involves the UFO leaving some kind of physical effect in its wake. And the third kind would involve sighting of UFO occupant, says Dr. Barnard Donovan.
I think they added fourth, which is that's obviously the anal probe in the old butthole.
Well, they done this here. Though Hynek died in 1996, other researchers have taken up charge and since had additional encounter types. A close encounter of the fourth kind covers alleged alien abductions, whilst the close encounter of the fifth type includes, according to most sources, communication exchange between humans and non-Earth creatures. I had this book and I gave out it to a friend of the family. It was called Above Top Secret, and it was about... He was a ESP...
That was Timothy Good, weren't it? Above Top Secret, or was it Nick Pope, the government dope?
I don't remember the name of the author. He worked in the US Air Force, so it wasn't Nick Pope. And he was an ESP communicator, and so he was...
I think it's Timothy Good.
Probably, maybe.
I think I used to have that and gave it away too. It must be something to do with that book.
It's the sort of book you used to give it away to people.
Yeah.
And I remember reading... Well, I read it. In the book, he was talking about how he was doing communication for the USAF, and a lot of it was like these...
Press F for DuckDuckGo.
Oh, is it just dead now?
Yeah. It's site can't be reached, it's telling me on here.
The same thing that happened to DuckDuckGo is what's happening to the 737 MAX. They have a diversity quota to fulfill.
Yeah.
Now, in the book, he's communicating with Greys, and he says most of the reports were just about alien abductions, and it was just like weights and measures of animals they exsanguinated and removed organs from.
Oh God, do you remember that episode of it? Do you remember when we did the cattle mutilation episodes?
The three-part special, because it was a lot of information to get through.
Yeah, we found that FBI report, didn't we? And then we read through that.
And Rendlesham Forest, the Bermuda Triangle of England.
Only it was the SAS pulling a prank on the silly Yanks.
No, that's
that's Rendlesham. That was Rendlesham. It was the.
Sorry, I'm getting Rendlesham mixed up with the UFO Triangle of England, like British Isles, something.
Where's that? Which one's that one?
Oh, I'm tired. So yeah, the broad 5-point typology is the most effective way to yeah, okay, so UFOs, if you want to get really into it, you can rate each encounter on the Rio scale, which was developed at the 51st International Astronautical Congress 29 review meeting on the search for extraterrestrial
Area 51. Are they doing the Cody stuff? Are they?
No, this means like they had like 51 meetings internationally about
before they figured that out.
Astronautical things. The Rio scale uses factors like reliability and quality of reporting to give each encounter a rating. 0 means a totally insignificant encounter.
Snopes have to check it out first to make sure it's pucker.
And then 10 indicates an extraordinary sighting worthy of serious study. I mean, in some ways, that sounds similar to the Psychical Society investigating paranormal claims, which we have discussed on previous episodes.
Yeah.
So then there's this paragraph.
The Enfield Haunting, haven't we, before? With Ian.
Yeah, that was one of the early episodes when it was in double digits. Why classify UFO encounters anyway? Of course, both these systems raise a question. Why bother spending much time in classification systems when aliens aren't real? That's presumptuous. Donovan, who is himself a skeptic, says it's roughly...
witness.
Yeah. Argumentative witness.
Is that what they say in court?
I
don't know.
I think it's begging the question.
Yeah.
I don't know what begging the question means. No, I don't like closed statements like that, because it's like, well, look, you're approaching. Shouldn't you approach this with an open? Well, I don't know.
Well, surely any inquiry in mind, it should be, if you can't prove, evidence of absence is not absence. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, is it?
Well, the thing that goes on to contradict themselves later on here is they're saying that Donovan, who is himself a skeptic, says that it's roughly 10% of cases that can't be explained that are of interest to science. Well, you're saying aliens aren't real, but you're saying 10% of these things can't be explained as, any other sort of thing.
Well, I'd kind of go further than that. I'd say if 1% of all of these stories are true, then there's something there, isn't there?
Yeah, because it's like, well, look, that 90% includes everything which is man-made. So that includes like missiles, civilian aircraft on known flight patterns.
Getting celestial bodies wrong.
Yeah, the International Space Station. It also includes secret military aircraft which are currently classified. For a long time, the stealth bomber and stealth fighter were classified aircraft until they were shot down.
Yeah.
Because it turns out that stealth coating doesn't work well when it's raining. Bit tricky is when you go through a cloud, that's wet, isn't it? It's amazing how much water there are in clouds. Like, I can't remember. Someone told me it's like...
And hailstones bobbing around waiting to drop.
Yeah, just...
You remember how hailstones work, don't you?
All that water is up there. Sorry?
You remember how hailstones work, don't you? They bob around and wait to drop, don't they?
Well, they're a bit like flies. They sort of zip around and around and stop occasionally, and then zip around and around again. And then if you've got a jam sandwich, they'll come land on it.
Yeah.
Donovan goes and says, And about 90% of sightings are misidentified aircraft, weather phenomena, or sleep disorders like sleep paralysis, of people reporting abduction experiences.
Sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is not nearly as common as people fucking think it is. As journalists think it is, I mean. Like, all this stuff that journalists think happens all the time, like ball lightning, like every other thunderstorm is ball lightning. Like, how common are even thunderstorms? Thunderstorms aren't even that common, let alone ball lightning, which is one of the...
funny.
Which, like, people even doubt that ball lightning exists.
Well, I've seen, like, experiments in the microwave where they can produce balls of plasma.
Yeah.
But actual ball lightning outside, the only place I've seen anything close to that is a ball floating above some railway lines, and I'm not sure if I imagined that or not,
or whether it was CG. You don't know, do you?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Don't know, but journalists live in this very strange ivory tower where, like, for example, back in the 90s, journalists and media were very keen to tell us about the dangers of quicksand.
Yeah.
But you don't hear anything about quicksand these days.
Yeah.
I mean, back then, like, how to survive quicksand and people getting trapped in it was like, like, quicksand back then was as popular as potholes are now. As in, you couldn't move out the door if it for quicksand. I don't know how we got past the 90s without all just getting sucked under by quicksand.
Adventure films. All the adventure films had a quicksand scene, didn't they?
You know, even I survived an encounter. It wasn't quicksand, but it was quick mud. Yeah. I was getting sucked into it, and eventually I had to wriggle out of my boots, and I crawled forward.
Hey, what have Wellies and George Michael got in common?
Both of them get sucked off in the bogs.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, okay. I just saw. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, so yeah, even I survived an encounter with
Did you get
sucked off
did your wellies get sucked off in a bog, Hobbit?
Well, only one of them got sucked off, so I kind of hopped and walked the rest of the way home, and that welly is probably long since gone, but I did walk back there the next day to see if I could find it.
Well, it was responsible for quicksand was responsible for a very, very piss poor scene in what's it called, The Rise of Skywalker. Did you ever watch that, Hobbit?
Is that the one where they got the Sarlacc pit and
it's Disney. It's Disney Star Wars, so it's not proper Star Wars.
Oh,
but what happens in that is they fall into quicksand, but they go right the way through and fall out into a cave. Explain that one if you can, Hobbit.
I'm not gonna, because that sounds like bullshit. But yeah, it was harrowing in the 90s, and the journalists, they were talking about putting sensible controls on quicksand, and then after the Dunblane massacre, they banned quicksand, and we haven't had a quicksand-related death since. Well,
didn't they change it to climate sand, and then it could have been just like any old sand?
I believe with the advent of drill music, where people drilling for oil, that's when we've seen some more quicksand-related fatalities in London.
Yeah.
And apparently quicksand stabbings have been increasing under Sadiq Khan, because he didn't grow up in the Western world in the 90s, so he didn't get all the PSAs about the dangers of quicksand. Now you've got these rappers glorifying like the gratuitous use of quicksand.
The rappers.
It's terrible.
Do you remember that Stuart Lee, the one where he kept going on about the rappers all the time?
I remember him talking about how he really dislikes Jeremy Clarkson for being funny.
Oh yeah, and he read out some of Chris Moyles' Bog book or something. Do you remember that one?
What? So you're telling me Stuart Lee, a comedian, has plagiarised works from other comedians?
Yes. I don't know. I don't think you could call Chris Moyles a comedian.
Crispy Boyles. it's funny because he's fat, and then he got skinny.
Yeah,
and it's
then he
funny
wasn't funny
because
anymore. Have you noticed fat people
yeah.
when they get skinny stop being funny?
So if James Corden becomes skinny, will he become funny?
I don't know. That might break the universe if he becomes skinny and starts being funny.
If James Corden was to lose weight, would his piggy eyes turn into normal eyes?
Is that what happens? Is that what happens if the Hadron Collider gets fired up a third time? James Corden becomes funny.
Well, then we know we're living in topsy-turvy world, and the Mandela effects can be irrefutable, because it seems a lot of people disbelieve that Fruit of the Loom should have a cornucopia, or that C-3PO's got 2 golden legs.
Sorry, mate, he always had one.
Look, just because you come from a different timeline, I know he had 2 golden legs.
Trust me, bro. I had the book. I had the book of Empire Strikes Back, and I've read it many, many times. And there are photos in the middle. And
I know what I've seen. And C-3PO has got 2 golden legs, and the rest of his body is all gold. He's a gold robot. But anyway, point being, you see, some people will quibble on these Mandela effects, but if James Corden was to be funny, we'd know that the timelines would shift, because nobody believes James Corden's funny, least of all James Corden.
He knows he's not. He knows he's on borrowed time.
Well, that is because he's fat, and the fat keeps pushing him on his heart, so he's going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
On account of being such a fatty.
Fatty bum bum.
But I just like the idea of James Corden losing weight, because it'll be good for him, and also it'll be funny when he's got all that flappy skin just flopping about. Yeah. But secondly, I want to see, like, let's say he gets to like a Stephen J. James weight of 53 kilograms. Yeah. Is he still going to have those horrible piggy, beetly black eyes that he's got?
Yeah, because he's evil, that's why.
Yeah. I thought, you know what? He'd actually be quite a good casting for Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. Because he's not very nice, and he probably abuses the boys, so allegedly.
Well, he is in Hollywood, so I think that's what you have to do when you're in Hollywood, isn't it?
James Corden, if you're listening to this, you're a fat bastard. Put down the pie. There we go.
And the children. And the child, if you've got one in your hands.
Yeah. Stop abusing children, allegedly, James Corden.
Yeah.
Who listens to our show.
I bet he does.
You're not funny. Yeah, he's
the first
that's
time
where
I got a dig at him, so he probably was a big fan of the show until tonight's show.
You see, that's why he's not funny, because he's minding our show for jokes.
And he doesn't realise we've already mined Avid Merrion for all our jokes.
Well, that's the other thing as
Craig
well.
Wilson says his balls are like lightning when he watches Pornhub. The quicksand scene in Blazing Saddles is hilarious, and they rescued the cart instead of our ecthic brother. Oh yes, I remember it now. The cart scene.
Cart scene.
I just remember the bit when the sheriff's walking through the town and he sees that old lady and she says, "Good morning, Sheriff. How are you?" Although it may have happened a little bit different to that.
Oh yes, they had some colourful expletives for him, which we're not allowed to use on YouTube anymore, because
she said
it's okay to show your...
"Good morning, Sheriff. How are you?" is what she said to him.
That is 100% what happened. It's been a long time since I've seen Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, I misremember it. I might be misremembering it. I might be remembering it correctly. Who knows? Perhaps they've changed it by now.
Yeah, you'll have to go and watch it to find out, because
watch. Have you seen Men in Tights, Hobbit? Men in Tights is a good film.
Is that the one with Kevin Costner?
No, that's the one with Carrie. Was it Carrie Elwes? He's got a really weird name, hasn't
he? Not
where he's Robin Hood. It's the comedy version of Robin Hood.
Yeah, you see, that's why I keep thinking Kevin Costner and Men in Tights.
It's basically the comedy version of that film.
Yeah, because didn't Kevin Costner do a Robin Hood film?
Yes.
That was another thing that was big in...
That was where
well,
we got the trope of the Robin Hood's best mate being Muslim.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
but that's a lie.
Well, you saw the remake of Robin Hood with Eggsy from Kingsman in, didn't you?
I'm going to be on the level with you now. The only version of Robin Hood I've seen is the Disney one with the foxes.
That's
and
good.
I wanted to watch
fox was a cunning little fellow, weren't he?
He was, especially with like the reed, so he could scuba dive in the moat, and
Yeah.
The sheriff and the music. I like the music in it, but I tried to watch the Technicolor one with my dad, but it was just like, oh, I'm bored by this. I don't want to watch it. And so then we watched like Shed and Buried or Wheeler Dealers.
That was Errol Flynn, weren't it?
It's really good. Like I've watched a little bit of it, and it's like this proper like sword fighting. It's in like those aren't prop swords, and they're really going each other.
Have you ever seen Zorro, the old Zorros?
The one where he cuts a Z into
Because fun nerd fact. That's the film that Bruce Wayne's parents took him to see when they were shot. The Tyrone Power version of Zorro, and that's kind of that was back then. It was Bruce Wayne's inspiration to become Batman.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to be a masked Avenger.
Yeah. That's where he gets the idea from Tyrone Power. I think he was like a Errol Flynn, Buster Crabbe type, weren't he?
Oh. Yeah, okay. Well, excuse me. That makes more sense than the other stuff. But mind you, I mean, how long's Batman been going on for? Like 100 years now?
Oh, it's something close to it, isn't it? Hold on. Is it Detective Comics 27, I think, is his first appearance? Comics 20.
Is that where you get Dick Tracy as well?
I don't think so, because Dick Tracy was a newspaper strip. This is really pissing me off now.
Oh, I see. I thought Detective Comics did newspaper strips.
No, that would be the newspapers that did the newspaper strips.
The guy that did Calvin and Hobbes died recently.
Oh, did it? He was very protective, wasn't he?
Yeah, and kind of glad he did because.
Detective Comics 27, May 1939. So come May 2039, Batman then becomes public domain.
Oh, okay. Well, so like Mickey Mouse.
Batman in Turkey. Batman is the city and capital of Batman district in Batman province, Turkey. So if you want to really be Batman, go and move to Batman in Turkey.
No, Batman.
Yeah.
No, Batman. Batman.
Oh, Batman is also a surname of English origin. It originates from Saint Bartholomew and means friend or servant of Bart.
So I'm looking here. There's a Batman statue in Leicester Square. Leicester Square. I know England. That's in London.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a Batman statue, but it's hidden behind a Bidfood lorry, so I can't see it.
I don't care what people say. Batman and Robin with George Clooney in it was an excellent film. It was so entertaining.
Wait,
when Arnie sings that song, I thought that was Frosty.
Oh no, not that one. I was thinking of the earlier Batman with Jack Nicholson as the Joker.
Yeah, that was Michael Keaton as Batman.
Yeah, I thought he was good Batman, but I haven't really seen him in other films.
There's a film called The Dream Team where I think he does something wrong, so he pretends to be mental. So they all end up going he ends up going to the city with all these mental people, and he has to look after them and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Did you know there was a composer called Jacques Louis Batman?
Batman!
Jack Louis Batman.
Oh, Batman in Turkey, or
remember it's Batman, but it's
Turkey.
Batman, not Batman.
Yes, he's a man that is a bat.
Yeah.
Where's the Batman statue in Batman?
Remember, Horseman is a man who dresses like a horse. He's not a man who rides a horse.
Oh, by the way, I'm doing Google Street View. I'm just looking around Batman right now, trying to find. Oh, I found some watermelons in a fruit cellar thing. But there's this game now. You and the audience, you can play this game at the same time, right? What you do is you go on Google Street View and you hover over India, just a random street in India. And what you do is you do a 360-degree turnaround, and if you see rubbish there, you've lost. So try again. Craig Wilson says, Lord Collins said there should be no ban on quicksand after Dunblane. Then they sealed the evidence for 100 years. Yeah, because they said it was.
There's nothing to see there. Why would you have the evidence open when there's anything to see there? You only do that when there's nothing to see there.
Yeah, so there's nothing to see. It was to protect the grieving families because people looking into the evidence would make them.
Do you remember
sad.
our friend who left us to join the Sons of Anarchy? Said he was going to do an episode with us on Dunblane.
The mopeds of anarchy. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Have I won? I've just gone into Murach Madhya Pradesh.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around and. No, I've just spotted 2 men on the street having a poo. That counts as littering. So,
apparently you get done for littering now if you have a wee in the street in England.
Imagine, like, Google Street View's just come from your village, right? And everyone's come to look at the Google Street View car because, cars are still kind of a newfangled thing in India.
A man's got to do what a man's got to do, isn't he?
A man's got a poo where a man's got a poo.
Yeah.
So let's just try a different part of India, right? So I'm different part of India now.
That's Pradesh is where all the nutty shit happens, isn't it?
I'm in Mandapur, Rampur, Odisha, and even without turning the camera, I've already spotted some rubbish. And there's a bit more rubbish strewn about there. Do you know they do corner shops in India?
Do they?
Computer sales service and repairing cartridge refilling. You can contact Satyabhadra Makahud. For
Paul McCartney.
Makahud. Yeah, Makahud. There's Ma Gayatri. Don't know what he's saying. Yeah, next to him is. Well, there's no trees around here. There's just some rubbish and some mopeds parked up next to it. Oh, do you want some plywood? M. Rampur Callahan Mobile deals in all types of plywoods, including, I can't read that, Formica and beeswings? Beeswings plywood? Oh, more rubbish strewn about over there.
Yeah.
And, I tell you what, those statues of the Virgin Mary would be crying because I'm not talking about. Has anybody won the India game?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's. Here we go. Deals in all types of plywood, shuttering ply, Formica and Formica, as well as beading.
Oh, beading!
I'm sure.
I can imagine. I can imagine the Indians with all their poo in the street and the rubbish all over the place. They're probably big fans of a dado rail, aren't they?
Sorry, but Maharashtra, first film looking at, don't even have to turn the camera. It's just like, rubbish on the side of the street. Oh, there's a big pile of rubbish and some rubble. 3 bricks there if anybody wants it. There's a woman walking in the middle of the street and she's not. Yeah, I suppose it is, isn't it? Oh, and there's some squiggle writing, so it's not in English. There's a man sitting down not doing a poo. I guess he's just got it done. And there's some Indians sitting down in the shade of a tree, also not pooing. And do you want to see like an angry Indian man on the poster?
There's a lot of not pooing going on. It's very unusual.
I surprisingly, it's just like I mean, do I get like a runner-up prize for like seeing like people not pooing on it? Do you know what? The funny thing is, right? I was like looking at the favela in Mexico City like a few years ago, and I thought it was pretty cool because I was sort of randomly going around and it's like, here's a burrito shop, and it's got a picture of. No, it wasn't a burrito shop actually. It was a Muriel and posters painter, and it had like the the big titted robot from, was it AC/DC or Megadeth? Um, you remember the robot? It's in one of the heavy metal albums.
Yeah.
But either way, it was this there, and along there was a picture of Goku as well. And I did find a burrito shop later, which had like or tacos, and it had like some Dragon Ball Z characters on it. But yeah, even through some of like the seedier parts, I was trying to like find the whorehouses and seeing what people have got on their streets in Mexico City. Not as dirty as India.
India's just in a league of its own, isn't it? It's doing a different sport to everyone else, isn't it?
Craig Wilson says in Kenya, just to be a bit different, they have corner shops in the middle of the street. Got corner shops.
Yeah, because we can't call them what we colloquially call them in England.
It turns out calling them by the ethnicity of the people are the shopkeeper. That's actually a racial slur because if you say to somebody you're from that country, they're like, "Hey, stop being racist." Imagine if I said to somebody, "You look English, you do," and be like, "That is a racial slur. How dare you call me that?"
You.
Or maybe Brit. It will be. Maybe,
if you said someone,
maybe
Brit.
Maybe if like, hey, look, he's got a British shop. Maybe they're like, oh, don't remind me he's from there. That's a third world shithole where there's litter strewn across the street.
Britpop, was that a slur then? Was it?
Or maybe it will become
Brits and they're Britpop.
Maybe it will become a slur because, like, people with the Brit shops and maybe. Here's the idea, right? They're saying like landfills and stuff are expensive. Yeah. What if they're going to do a thing where I'm sorry, I keep looking at these streets in India. Why are there just like piles of bricks and rubble just strewn about everywhere? Well, were they the true victims of?
You don't want to take them to a tip. Someone might find them useful.
I mean, is it like? Did they recently suffer like the Blitz and like they've got to rebuild after all the bombing the Luftwaffe did to them? Is that why they're struggling? Like,
no idea.
No, why is India like that? But
they don't be like that.
Yeah.
Oh, AJR, it looks very posh.
AJR, I've missed
everything. This. Evening Gents says AJR.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's a very posh logo you got there, AJR.
Good evening, AJR, with the flag of the Union. That is a Union flag.
And we can't look at your thing anymore, can we? You can't look at people's accounts anymore, so we can't see what that very posh flag has got on it.
Channel activity, I can do that. Not to put you at the spot here, but channel activity, right?
Yeah.
It says you joined 12 years ago. You have 78 subscribers.
Yeah.
Moderate activities in the last year is 0, 0, and 0. And chat messages in the last year is, and it shows the messages you've just said. So if I was to click on, say for example,
no, I can't find it. It's not.
No, there's no go-to channel. But for example, I can click on Interdimensional Lizard, and it said you joined 11 years ago and you got 1 subscriber. And go-to channel isn't there. That's right, yeah. Oh, and it shows like his previous messages, like Mrs. Columbo and stuff. So, yeah, that's from your channel.
Yeah, I think we might do a. Oh, he can get to his channel. Let's have a look at this posho. Gentleman AJR. He sounds very posh. Gentleman AJR.
It won't let me click on the name, so I think because you're the channel owner, it let you do it, but it won't let me do it.
Very posh. A very nice mountain scene in the background. Welcome, AJR.
Yeah.
I've missed most of this. What have I missed? Me and Hobbit are real, so this isn't one of the best episodes to just dip in on.
But also, we did an important PSA because...
AGR said he's been here before and he finds it funny.
I did a thing. No, I'm not sure why we got talking. That was it. Plugs, sockets, and how our sockets are the best in the world. And I found it's from the
crying. Are we going to talk about crying things, or are we going to do that when we're a bit more with it?
I think TBC stands for Total Broadcaster Crap Posting.
Yeah.
So we are on subject.
Should we do some unexplainedhistories.com?
Well, yeah, we are going to do it, but we are going to do it in memoriam for Warwick Davis, considering his wife died.
Ghost-hunting woman dressed as a vampire has been found dead in an old church.
But also, we're going to do an in memoriam for Fraser, who died of chinky cough or heroin.
Did you know this? Did you know this woman died on the 4th day of the 17th month of 2024?
Hemi, I think I might have won the India map game.
No, who do you have to report to?
Rishi Sunak.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, maybe he'll give me an Indian passport now.
Nice.
So, I'm on a rural street in Anrampur, which is part of Gujarat. And I'm looking all around. I see bushes.
I think I know where JR is. Yeah, it's just dropped.
Oh, actually, no, spoke too soon. There's poo and a crisp packet there, so no. It turns out every single road and street in India is just covered in rubbish.
Or poo. Or both.
Or poo. Yes, usually both. Yeah, that's another place. It's like the idea. It's just like, you know, where we got potholes, they're just going to fill them with rubbish and poo.
So, a ghost hunting woman dressed as a vampire found dead in old church. The young French woman was found dead.
Just cows walking around the streets in Birmingham.
At an abandoned church. We will soon. At an abandoned church in northern Italy's Aosta Valley a few days ago. The scene of the crime, Châtellard Castle. That doesn't sound very Italian, does it?
Oh, just to think, what they could do as a traffic calming measure in Châtellard Castle is they say, we're going to put these cows just roaming the streets in Birmingham.
You've seen a few Châtellards while you've been looking at the Indian pictures, haven't you?
It just, my God, it's like every single wall is streaked with shit. In
completely unrelated news, there was probably another kid born with 3 heads or something that's completely unrelated to any of this.
Completely unrelated to every single surface is smeared with shit and rubbish. Do you remember that episode we did on twins, and then I got very upset and decided I never wanted to do anything?
I think everybody felt queasy by the end of that episode, didn't they?
It was absolutely horrible. I don't
know how we just got into birth defects. We went down the dead end towards birth defects, and everybody felt sick.
But wasn't it like twins with different types of chromosomes? And then we found out
because we found all the different type of twins. Then we went into like whatever it's called when they don't absorb the other twin properly.
Oh yeah, and then it's like, oh look, malformed co-joined twins. That seems to be really popular in India.
It's all the rage.
Well, they'll make shrines to them, and people can go and visit money and give them offerings of food.
I mean, do you remember conjoined fetus lady from South Park? Did she used to drive the bus or something?
No, she was the nurse.
Oh, she was the nurse.
School nurse, yeah, and the bit which that reminds me of isn't that like in Total Recall where they got like the co-joined Quato?
Quaid, open your mind, Quaid, open your mind.
Quaid. Wait, Arnie's character is called.
Do you remember the song? Open Your Mind by Usura. Do you remember that tune?
No.
I'll find
Sorry.
it. It's actually got a sample from that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what we call that then. Indians seem to be very
Open
fond
your
in having
mind.
telegraph.
Open your mind. You'll know it when you hear it.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Is it just me? Indians seem to be really fond of having telegraph wires just like strewn about everywhere.
I think it's more amusing when they go up to quote unquote fix them, and then there's a big bang.
Oh, and then they do the that funny dance they do where they go stiff and then flop to the floor.
Yeah.
That seems to be very popular in India. That one.
Twins was a great episode. Is that South Park? Is it? That must have been an old one, wasn't it?
No, the Twins episode was. It doesn't seem that long ago.
Oh, he's talking about our Twins episode. I thought he meant the South Park episode. I'm with you now. Yeah, that was vile. That episode, that was not great at all. Everybody felt sick. The audience felt sick. We felt sick after reading them out. Did we just have to stop because we started feeling sick?
I think I asked us, said, can we finish this now, please? Because I'm not happy anymore.
I feel poorly. I can't do it anymore. I feel poorly.
I know. If I go on an overpass, I won't be able to see any rubbish, right? No, there's rubbish on the overpass. It's like, oh, this looks like a nice road.
Oh,
I think I'll just stop.
I've got it. Go to the what's the fucking palace thing?
The Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's loads of rubbish there.
Oh, is there? Oh, okay then. I thought that might be a winner chicken dinner.
No. There's the rules of the game.
Go to a park in India. There's got to be parks that they might attempt to keep those clean.
The rules are you just go to like a random place. You take the Google Street View, you drag it to a random spot in India, and you do a 360. And if you don't spot any thing, then right. So there's no street view of this park, so I can't see in the park. But there's a road leading up to it.
Can we do at least one bit of content tonight?
Well, we did about close encounters.
About this woman who was stabbed in the church.
Oh, right. Don't you want 100% pure buffalo milk, ghee and curd?
I'll find out. The young French woman was found dead at an abandoned church in northern Italy's Aosta Valley a few days ago. In a strange and disturbing case that has perplexed local authorities, the 22-year-old was found dead with most of the blood drained from her body after being stabbed with a camping knife. What the fuck is a camping knife?
It's a knife you take on the camp with you.
Oh, that's any knife, isn't it?
Pretty much.
I'll take a kitchen knife to cut up my veg and that when I'm making dinner.
Yeah.
Oh God, this is fucking doing my. This DuckDuckGo thing is doing my. I need to change the search engine for Brave.
Other browsers other search engines are available. I'm using Microsoft Bing for the moment.
Yeah. It's DuckDuckGo and Brave. I think they've had a bit of a falling out.
Yeah. They're not working nicely together.
So what the fuck is a camping knife? It looks like a Swiss Army knife. From what I can see in images of camping knife.
Well, I've got a folding up and down knife.
Whatever it is, it's like a short-bladed knife. So why they didn't say short-bladed knife?
I got a Opinel folding knife similar to what my granddad's got.
I think it's like a 3-4 inch blade. So why they couldn't have said that, I don't know.
A short folding knife, yeah.
It can be folding or not folding. It looks like the blade's about 3 inches anyway. Camping.
Well, my favourite knife is the one my granddad has used all his life, and it's used by the Boy Scouts as well. It's an Opinel. I think it's number 118. So that's.
3 gunshot wounds were also seemingly inflicted on her body after she had died, and someone had, for reasons unknown, scraped some of her blood up off the floor and taken it with them. Scraped it up off the floor? It sounds like they haven't planned this at all. This is a terrible murder. This is the sort of thing that Miss Columbo would be all over in a second, wouldn't she?
And then she'd be drinking tea with the murderer, saying, "I know you've done it. No, I'm not going to tell the press or the police about it. No, I'm not going to ask for bribe money."
The case could potentially be connected to the mysterious disappearances of 2 other people in the same area. The church in which the woman was found, thought to be Chatelard Castle. So now they don't know if it's Chatelard Castle, it's thought to be Chatelard Castle. Is abandoned and has gained something of a reputation for being haunted. Police believe... So it's a ghost with a gun, a camping knife, and something to scrape up blood with.
Spooky ghost.
Spooky ghost. Police believe that she may have been there as part of a social media ghost hunting challenge that is currently popular in France. So she did social media, but she didn't actually put any social media up.
Yeah, that seems totally legitimate. And yeah, we all know women like to keep to themselves and don't like to post every minute of their life online.
Yeah, this is making less and less sense at the minute. I think it was Mr. Jenkins from the carnival. Witnesses reportedly saw both her and a male friend dressed as vampires in the general area before her death, and noticed she looked pale and emaciated and like a walking corpse. Well, she stopped walking later on. Police are also investigating the possibility that she'd become involved in some form of ritualistic sacrifice or consented murder, or that her presence at the church was part of a social media prank. Detectives are focusing their efforts on finding the male friend who was seen with the woman, as well as the owner of a burgundy van that was... Is that a van that sells burgundy wine, or a van that's burgundy coloured?
Is it a van from the Burgundy region of France? Is it
a burgundy van? That's all it is. That was spotted on CCTV near the church the previous week. No further details of the investigation have been made public. Well, none have really been made public so far. So she may or may not have been stabbed, shot, and the blood scraped her, but she also may or may not have been online, and the man she was with may or may not have been anything to do with it, and they may or may not have found him. So there we go. This is some tip-top police work.
I was going to say, this journalism's good.
Do you feel like you've learned a lot after hearing that article?
I think what I've learned is that India is the world's best resource for rubble and stray bricks. Like, if you want some... we know where all the oh, would you like some nice Romali roti? You know it's nice because it says nice on it. Nice Romali roti, styled by Matin Khan.
He doesn't get the joke that I put in earlier. Does anyone know what this pill is? Pink rectangular tablet with the ID Z3D on it.
Can I spoil the joke?
Go on then. Go on.
Because it was really popular with kids back in the 90s, and they used these like crack pipes, which had like often cartoon characters, heads, things, and they dispense one of those pills one at a time from you. Now, some might say...
If you turn it the other way up, it says Pez.
Yeah. And who's the guys that made Swizzle and Refreshers and all those other sort of sweets?
That was different. But Swizzle, I think Swizzle was a different manufacturer.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is that the manufacturers of Refreshers, they made these ones, I think... They may or may not have been the same size as the Pez pellets, but they were called tabs.
Oh, Swizzle's Ludlow is the company.
Swizzle's, that's the one, yeah. And I loved tabs. I thought they were brilliant. There was like, you got a refresher, but it's like a fraction of the price, and they're little rectangular bricks. So I used to like use them like Lego bricks, which I could then eat afterwards.
What the fuck?
Never had that.
They do drumstick body fuel now. Electrolyte and vitamin water.
Oh, speaking of which, they do a refreshers in a tin, and it really does taste like refreshers. Most of it's apple juice.
Yeah. So that's that. So it swizzles Matlow. What else are we gonna do? Are we gonna talk about the? Well, I don't know. It doesn't. See, my missus said this morning, "Oh, Warwick Davis is dead," but it turns out that Warwick Davis isn't dead. It's his wife.
Mrs. Hemmingford lied to us, but let's do let's take her word for it and say Warwick Davis did die.
Yeah.
So can we do a memoriam for
Can you
two
even find
people?
him anymore?
No, not unless you have a scanning tunneling electron microscope. You see, mean people said mean things about him in a mean way on the online stuff. The hacker known as 4chan.
And he sued the hacker known as 4chan.
And then he was presented a check. Now, he took an arduous journey to the bank to cash in his check, you see. To collect the check, first of all. And
it was quite
he
a
rode
journey
on
as well,
this. Yeah, well, he rode on this stately gerbil into the bank to get the check, and then when he went up to the desk, it took about 8 hours for him to climb up using 2 fine needles as picks used for mountaineering.
Yeah. And
to his horror, the teller in the bank couldn't hear what he was saying and dropped the check on him, and he thought he was going to get crushed. But he was so small that he actually fell in between the valencies of the paper molecules in the check.
Is he getting smaller as this story goes on?
yeah, he does. So I'd like to say in memoriam for the 2 people we've lost this week. Fraser, he's dead. He was a co-host of our show.
You're not going to read one of the more unsavoury ones where they describe kicking his jaw off and things like that,
or having sex with his daughter whilst he's had his arms and legs broken and he's forced to watch, and she gets pregnant and he's watching all the abuse of his. I'm sorry.
It's not funny, Hobbit. It's not funny. He's a human being, and so is his family. It's not funny, Hobbit.
To the family of Warwick Davis who died today, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing. It's not funny.
We're not laughing at you. We're laughing with you.
I am actually crying.
Now, are they?
Yeah.
This is getting worse. This memorial isn't working out, Hobbit. I think it's gone off the track somewhere. This memorial has.
Well, the main thing is that Fraser died, but it's been overshadowed by the death of Warwick Davis,
his wife.
Well, look, he's dead. Okay, I don't try and say he was last seen buying a train ticket to Glasgow, and his wife's fucking dead. You cunt.
She's fucking dead. You cunt. Oops, I'm thinking of the little circular refreshers in a rolled-up tube, not the chewy sherbet bar. Yeah, they do. You're thinking of a wham bar, interdimensional.
Yeah, I didn't like the chewy toffee sweets they did, but I did like the crumbly.
Wham bars were good. Do you remember wham bars?
That was a chewy toffee sweet. No,
it wasn't toffee. It was like refreshed. It was like Chewits, but like super hard, weren't it? Was it like nugget or wham bar? Let's see what a wham bar, how it's described. And it had those like really sour. Oh, Dr. Go's working again.
Oh, good.
It's a confectionery bar. Thank you for that. That's very.
DuckDuckGo giving you the pertinent search
chew bars. Oh, so it's taffy.
Yeah, chew.
It's taffy.
Which is toffee, but another.
No, it's actually different. Taffy is a type of sweet. It says candy, but I'm not allowing the United States to pollute my language anymore. is a type of sweet invented in the United States made by stretching and or pulling a sticky mass of soft, sweet base. I suppose you could say candy, couldn't you? That's acceptable use for the word candy, is it, Hobbit?
Well, candy to me is like the action of candying something. Like you get some chestnuts and you candy them.
So it's made of boiled sugar, butter, vegetable oil, flavourings and colourings. All the things a young lad needs.
Sounds like toffee.
Until it becomes air. Yes, it is, but it's like more of a it's more of a fruity thing, isn't it?
Did you know on the iconic road number 1 street in Hyderabad, there's a place you can go and get radium and keys cut?
Oh, did you know you can get a brew flavoured wambar, which is similar to the flavour of urn brew?
Yes, I was aware, and I tried it, and it does taste similar.
Does it taste like urn brew?
I'd really like some refreshers that iron brew flavour.
At the peak of their popularity, sales of wambars were 30 million a year.
Yeah.
30 million wambars a year.
Well, it's not as many as the caramel biscuits. I think they make 6 million of them every week.
Well, it's definitely not as many as Jaffa cakes.
No,
David Lammy buys all of them.
The caramel, the ones made by Tunnocks, they make 6 million of those a week. So all those like jokes about 6 million in 4 years. Don't think I could do that. Well, Tunnocks can.
Yeah, 6 million in a year.
They'll bake you the biscuits. You'll be pleased to know on the iconic road number 1 street in Hyderabad, there is the unique tailors and cloth store, which sells Kutara pajama, puff nuffy suits, jubba, which is Saudi folk,
what's a puff
and
nuffy
waistcoat
suit?
and show. I don't know. I think I had that as a curry once. Good news! Unique tailors, cloth store, and ready made. I'm gonna just take a screen grab of that so people can have a look at this. And
have you seen? I think they've found in January. They thought they've found Amelia Earhart's aircraft.
Yeah, I did hear about that. We didn't cover it, did we?
Deep Sea Vision had captured a clear sonar image of what appeared to be an aircraft on the seafloor around 16,000 feet beneath the surface and around 100 miles from Howland Island. It may be some time, however, before the aircraft can be definitively identified. So, women drivers.
Yep. No, I'm fine. I think we're lost. No, I'm fine.
Oh, pareidolia. What's pareidolia again, Hobbit?
Is that the thing where you see patterns in things where you're not? And the first thing they show is the face on Mars, which is just a bunch of random rocks, bro.
Yeah.
It's like saying that the painting of the Mona Lisa is just random bits of pigment on canvas, bro.
Oh, some mad bitch claims to have married and divorced the ghost of a soldier.
Oh, what about that woman who was married to the colour pink?
A singer-songwriter from England has turned her personal experiences into a passion for paranormal investigation. The 40-year-old, who goes by the professional name Brocard, has attracted quite a following in recent years thanks to her rather unusual infatuation with an alleged spook. Yeah, you shouldn't use spook. That can be a racial slur. So that's not a very nice thing to say. The story goes. I
still don't believe you and Fraser told me about that, but now he's turned into a spook.
Yeah, well,
because he's departed.
Yeah,
he's given up the ghost.
The story goes that she never gave up the ghost. She married him. The story goes that Brocard met the ghost of Eduardo.
Off of road number.
She met the ghost of Eduardo, a Victorian soldier, when he burst into her bedroom one night, and a supernatural romance soon followed afterwards.
Wait, was Eduardo played by Michael Caine, perchance? This Victorian soldier with the name Eduardo.
What are you doing, love? Remember, it's not how we fall down, love. It's how we get up. Smack.
This ain't Rourke Drift. What am I doing here?
You're only supposed to blow the bloody back doors off. Exactly how their relationship worked.
Every martini rifle.
Exactly how their relationship worked on a practical level remains unclear. but she was reportedly so infatuated with her ghostly companion that after struggling to find a venue, she ended up organising a ceremony at the Asylum Chapel in Peckham, very apt name there, London, where the two were married. Eduardo was making sure I knew he was there throughout the ceremony by whispering things in my ear and gently nudging me, she told The Sun at the time. I was so grateful Eduardo turned up and didn't leave me. I'm doing Eduardo's voice, but it's her talking. It's a bit weird. I don't know why. And didn't leave me standing at the altar. It feels amazing that I am finally his wife. Her happiness was short-lived, however, when not long afterwards she became convinced that the ghost was cheating on her and promptly filed for divorce. She even claimed to have elicited the services.
Can I just do a thing? When I'm king, that these women they can marry and divorce ghosts, but then they're going to be publicly flogged for wasting everybody's time.
Yeah. She even claimed to have enlisted the services of an exorcist to ensure that her former husband was gone and would not continue to haunt her. If this all happens to sound a bit far-fetched, it's because it is. And then that's because it surely is. Suffice to say, there is no concrete evidence that Eduardo even existed and the marriage was in no way official. Nonetheless, these experiences have had quite an influence on her life, and she has since developed quite a passion for paranormal investigation. I see spirits on a regular basis now. Dave, you're mine. I am hypersensitive to ghosts, and they seem to attract them, she said.
You're telling me a priest didn't marry them and they didn't go to the registry office?
Yeah.
Oh, he says he does. He's in love with me.
I consult mediums constantly to gain a better understanding of why this could be, and to make sense of my encounters. One medium suggested that Eduardo and I entered each other's lives for a reason, and we have helped each other. You can watch an interview with Brockhard on British daytime TV show This Morning Below. You can go there right now, but I suggest you don't, because she's fucking mental.
You know what this story reminds me of? I mean, it's not a new story, but hey, here's some news from the past. Sylvester Stallone's mother, she's palm reading, finding fortunes by reading a palm.
Jackie Stallone.
Well, she does it in a slightly different way, in that she does bum reading. So she looks at your bum, and she'll be able to tell you your future and fortune.
You have to do a little love puff in her face, do you?
No, what you do is you drop your drawers, and she feels up your bum, and she looks at the wrinkle lines, and she'll tell you about like your fame, fortune.
I think we should get Grant to go and see her, because that'd really teach her a lesson. She won't be doing that again. Oh no, Craig Wilson's done it. He said, "Did he say I boo?"
That's guys, okay.
God, then that's fucking.
You'll never believe, right? So, whilst you've been doing that, I've been doing my touring, my virtual tourism of India's Hyderabad.
Yeah.
Well, would you believe it? I've just been off of road number 1 onto street number 2, and guess where I've ended up? Right?
Where?
Road number 2, and immediately road number
2's on road number 2.
Not only that, there's a bunch of branches, and it looks like some fag packets are there too. And
NASA have been invited to help scan Loch Ness as part of new monster hunt. So the people who can't find aliens in space are going to now not find Nessie in the Loch Ness.
Oh, I'm sure when what's his name gets better, you'll be pleased. Ian, I'm sure he'll be pleased. I'm seeing like pictures of a bright sunny day in India, and it's making me sneeze.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just all the dust from it. Oh yeah, there's some piss coming out of someone's doorway. That's nice.
Did you know we've got a Bigfoot here in England? There's the South Downs. Where are the South Downs, Hobbit? Do you know?
Yeah, we did an episode on it. It was called the Woadwoes. Remember, we're not allowed to remember about the Woadwoes.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about the Woodwoes because we're not allowed to remember.
Yeah. You better not remember the Woadwoes. That is the magic of the Woadwoes. Like, we can't remember it.
The first rule of Woodwoes Club is don't remember Woodwoes is.
I don't even think our audience remembers Wo's Club.
Yeah. So some of these reports come courtesy of fishermen who claim to have encountered a growling creature. Can you see me, growler? On a particularly rough piece of terrain with a sharp incline. I felt incredibly on edge, and it was a feeling I can honestly say I've never experienced before or since, said Mike Brown. It was really as if something was watching me, and as I was not welcome. I think, though, the most standout thing is the terrain being covered in the dark. It sounds dangerous enough to attempt in the daylight, let alone in the dark. When you can't see any obvious signs of torchlight, that's the really scary part, because no human could do it without suffering injury. Another witness, Michael Brindle, saw the creature running near the lake. I was dozing on my chair next to the rods when I was woken by a loud growl from the opposite bank, he said. The creature, whatever it was, seemed to run at considerable speed on two legs. He was so unnerved by the incident that he quickly packed up his things and left. The hairs on my arm stood up, he recalled. Could there really be a Bigfoot-like creature stalking the shores of the lake? It's worth recalling the recent case of the Bigfoot sighted in Washington state that turned out to be a cross-country runner. It's also possible that the fisherman could have mistaken a conventional animal for something more unusual in the darkness. Whatever the case, I hope to never hear it again, said Michael.
Oi, you bloody
Oi,
apples
Bigfoot.
And pears.
If Bigfoot was to come down here right while I was doing my fishing, I'd say, oi, Bigfoot, no.
No! I'm not going to even take... I can't do the rest of Harry Enfield's thing. Yeah. If this set of circumstances will happen, I'd say, oi, set of circumstances, no!
Do you know what Havana syndrome is, Hobbit?
Yes, it's the thing that you get if you're a CIA agent in Havana, where you get sick, because the Russians are really evil, you see, and they'll use like sound waves or ultrasound to make you feel sick, and the CIA's never done anything like that. And all reports of a CIA heart attack gun don't exist. Coincidentally, there was this guy. I'm not sure if you remember.
Do you think the CIA were targeting Warwick Davis when they hit his wife instead?
Well, he's such a small target that they missed and shot into the wife's heart instead. But there was this guy. He was making 3D printed guns, and the first model he came up with was called...
Dom says he can see the South Downs from his window. He hasn't seen any Bigfoots, though. Likely story, Dom. Look at Dom shilling for Bigfoot.
He eventually got arrested because they found out who he was, and they were like, well, you can't manufacture firearms without license. Then he was released... And then about 2 weeks later, he died of a heart attack. Now, he was in his late 20s. He was fit and healthy. And his friends said that they used the heart attack gun on him because there's no way a man in his 20s... Now, this was before Safe and Effective, by the way.
Yeah.
There's no way a man in his 20s should be suffering a heart attack. But he did, 2 weeks after his arrest. And they just...
It says here, according to an investigation by The Insider and Der Spiegel and CBS's 60 Minutes, they've unearthed new evidence. According to their research, a very specific Russian military intelligence unit known as 29155 was present in the same cities and at the same times as the attacks took place. The same unit has also been connected to the poisoning of Russian spy Sergei Skripal in 2018.
Yep.
Intriguingly, the investigation has also found evidence to suggest that the unit had been involved in the development of non-lethal acoustic weapons, otherwise known as sonic weapons. Such weapon systems could easily account for the symptoms experienced by those affected. What has made the US government's official position on Havana syndrome so frustrating is that despite playing down the possibility of a foreign country being involved, agencies have failed to actually provide any sort of viable alternative explanation. Well, that's not the idea.
You know what this reminds me of? My dad was telling me about how in the London Underground, because of the way the trains push air in these tubes, it creates these low frequency vibrations, and they can cause hallucinations. In addition to that, also like not just hallucinations where you think you're hearing and seeing things, because I think we did do a thing about the ghosts being spotted on the underground, but feelings of dread and terror, like they need to flee the area immediately. And I mean that seems a bit like, what is it about the? Well, here's another thing, right? And this is why like cathedrals are important, but I think it's been understood for quite some time that low frequency vibrations are quite important. And in a cathedral and large churches, you've got room inside them for the frequencies of the choral music and the organ to work on you in beneficial ways. It's not just about hearing the notes with your ears, but it's also like feeling it in your belly and your chest.
Yeah.
And that's why in cathedrals, it's like it was sort of understood that these were healing tones, and that's why they even to the point where, like, the Catholic Church will forbid the playing of certain notes. They'd call them the devil's notes, and I just thought it was like a joke, like somebody did as a clever prop parody. But they showed like a box being opened with a key to play devil's notes. But no, that was like a real thing in organs. Like these notes should not be played unless it's for special reasons. Don't play it when there's an audience there because it can make them feel unwell.
Ooh, very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so they even understood like discordant notes like you hear with jazz music will cause people's health and spirit to be adversely effective.
Yeah,
and we all know
like that song from The Little Mermaid. That horrible fucking squawking song. You know the one I'm talking about.
That's not music. That is actually a CIA ploy to attack Russia and the rest of the world.
Yeah.
By weaponizing jazz music. That is weaponized jazz.
Yeah. That's not good.
In the Monty Python when they found the world's funniest joke and it killed like the guy who came up with it. So they had to have the translation team translate into German, but working on one word at a time.
Do you remember hearing about that song Gloomy Sunday? The one where everybody topped themselves after listening to it?
Isn't that just like Coldplay music in general?
Yeah, they did a cover of They probably did a cover of Gloomy Sunday.
I'm just saying that all of Coldplay's music makes one want to end themselves.
Yeah, that and James Corden's jokes. Do you think James Corden's jokes are something like that then?
Imagine if they did like a Live Aid with James Corden and Coldplay doing the music.
Yeah, and Travis. Do you remember Travis got really depressing at one stage?
The only time I've ever heard Travis playing music was on the Ali G show with he was playing "Why Does It Always Rain on Me?"
Yeah,
and Ali G kind of just like tunes him out of the mix and plays some drum and bass instead.
No, the best one of those was "Help the Motherfucking Aged." That was the best. That was the best one of Ali G's. Do you remember what's his name from?
What, Jarvis Cocker was on?
Yeah, he was trying to sing "Help the Aged," and Ali G was "Help the Motherfucking Aged." Help the Motherfucking Aged.
I don't remember that. No,
you've not seen that. You should find that one. I bet you'll love that one.
I quite like Jarvis Cocker.
Yeah, he's singing "Help the Aged," and you got Ali G in the background going "Help the Motherfucking Aged." Help the Motherfucking Aged.
Yeah, but no, I do remember the one where he's playing with Travis, and then he's got these like black dancers that are just like twerking their asses near him, and eventually Travis, I think he understands what's going on. He's just like, yeah, and he puts down his guitar and stops singing. Now, this is strange, right? Now, believe it or not, there was a time with Sacha Baron Cohen, who's the brother of Nathaniel Baron Cohen. He used to tell jokes. Nathaniel Baron Cohen, by the way, is one of the world's most preeminent.
Before he used to run around hotels trying to with a large fat man trying to bum him. Do you remember that? That was hilarious. There's nothing more funny than the bloke who's trying to bum another bloke forcibly.
Yeah. Having naked gay wrestling with your fat lover in a film is very funny, and everyone finds it funny. But the brother of the world's most, I say world's most preeminent. There's like two people. One of them's retired now. Maybe Nathaniel's retired. But anyway, Nathaniel Sacha Cohen, who is Nathaniel Baron Cohen, brother of Sacha Baron Cohen, is or was, but now he's retired, a researcher of autism and Asperger's syndrome. Although we're not allowed to call it Asperger's syndrome anymore because that means you're a Nazi. So it's called mild
Asperger's means.
So now they call it mild autism, and I think that like Americans can pronounce mild autism correctly, whereas they couldn't pronounce Asperger's because apparently the letter P is impossible for Americans to pronounce.
Asperger's.
Yeah, exactly. They say tomato and sidewalk.
And force it.
Yeah, well, that's why your tap leaks, because you keep forcing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop forcing
dickheads.
Yank.
Yeah, Americans.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I think
remember that woman that used to watch our show? She used to find it funny when he told her that Yanks weren't allowed to put hang their washing up outside their house.
Why not?
It's the Nazi groups that run the local. What do they call it?
Yes, because in America, Land of the Free, you have these things called Neighborhood Watch, and they say you can't hang your washing.
It's called something else. I can't remember what it's called, but you basically have to sign massive contracts to move into an area, don't you?
It's called the Freedom Gestapo.
Yeah,
HOA, Homeowners Association.
This was America.
Yeah, it's the Freedom Gestapo. It's like, hey, freedom ain't free, buddy. You better not be putting your washing on the line.
Freedom costs $1.05. I know that much.
Yeah. So now we got 10 minutes left. Weeping statue and Marian apparitions.
Oh right. Reported weeping this in at the end. Is this bonus content? The actual episode's bonus content.
The actual episode is going to be bonus content. A weeping statue, which has been claimed to have shed tears or be weeping supernatural means. Statues weeping tears appear to be blood, oil, and scented liquids have all been reported.
What should we do next week? I've got loads more of these. I can find loads more of these.
Well, we can always do a part 2, can't we?
Okay, then go on then. This is the teaser for next week.
Is miraculous healing, the formation of figures in tear lines, and the scent of roses
from Marvin Gaye. Wake up.
I tell you what, if I had a statue of Mary and it was if it was weeping like rose oil, that'd be great. Yeah. These events are generally reported by Catholics. Initially attract pilgrims, but most cases disallowed by the church as proven hoaxes.
Oh, when I get that feeling, it's like sexual healing.
Sexual healing. I can't remember the rest of the show. I just remember that bit where he's doing the really high notes. How is it like all
do you remember the wake up, let's make love tonight?
What? Yeah, I do actually. But it just why does it all?
Just imagine him like digging the missus in the ribs, going, "Oi, oi, oi!
Wake up! I've got a boner."
Are you asleep? Nudge, 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 nudge. Are you asleep?
Okay, I'm glad you're awake now because I'm horny. Reported weeping statues are most often sculptures of the Virgin Mary and are at times accompanied by claims of Marian apparition.
Said, come again.
Yeah. A notable example in this nature of Our Lady of Akita apparitions. Our Lady of Akita, that sounds Japanese. That was unlike other cases.
Which is not Our Lady of Muck-Eater, which is the patron saint of power tools.
Oh, right, here we go. So, not Our Lady of Makita, Our Lady of Akita. That was unlike other cases, as the entire nation of Japan was supposed to be able to view the statue of the Virgin Mary shed tears on national television. And that's the first citation. The Everything Mary book, The Life and Legacy of the Blessed Mother by Jenny Schroeder. Hoaxes and skepticism. Yeah, so it turns out the Catholic Church have got a Snopes department that they go around saying, well, this isn't miraculous. The miraculous weeping statue of the Virgin Mary in
Miraculous, about 6 of those this week.
Yeah. So here we go. In 1643 in Wrocław, Germany, there was Our Lady of Turning Eyes. Tears, changing complexion, speaking, moving head from heaven to earth, witnessed by at least 42 citizens.
Well, like Aphrodite's statue in Clash of the Titans. Do you remember
that? That was stop motion animation.
No, that weren't. And then they projected her face onto the statue, didn't they? That was a different effect.
Okay, that is different.
Yeah.
And then, so nothing happened between 1643 and 1953, which is when the Syracuse.
Nothing happened at all, Snopes.
That's it. So human tears approved by local bishops. So that's citation 20. 1960 and the 16th of March, Hampstead, New York. Tears of human from icon of sorrowful Theotokos. First showing tears in the House of Island Park, New York House of Peter and Patagonia Katsunis. I think we will talk more about weeping statues in a later episode. Yeah. But one of the things I want to talk about this because it's a bit out of the scope. Have you ever seen like pictures of religious icons and bees won't build their hives on it? They will build the hives around Jesus and Mary. What is it that bees know about these icons that Protestants don't? Because it's a bee. How can a bee tell the difference between canvas?
Is it not ley lines? Like ley lines are energy, and as we know, as we found out from our bee episode, that bees run on electromagnetic. They've got literally like electromagnetic little pouch in them, haven't they? Could it be to do with ley lines?
I'll tell you what. Next time I go to the Royal Road Stones and I see the regulars there, I'll ask them if anybody's done experiments with bees around the stones.
Capture a bee. Capture a bee, take it there with you, Hobbit, and see what happens.
Well, it's going to fly away, isn't it?
Is it? Might explode.
Oh, no, I don't want to cause harm to a bee.
You don't want a bee to explode. It'd be like scanners. It's a little head.
No, I don't want that to happen.
Fun fact about scanners: did you know they blew the budget, the entire special effects budget on the start of Scanners?
Oh, that explains why the rest of the film's really boring, probably.
Yeah, yeah. Spoilers. But yeah, it's really cool. That's why it's a slow psychological horror, because they blew all the budget on exploding that bloke's head at the start.
Craig says, fairly sure Ben Emlyn Jones said he was at a seminar where one of the guest speakers was going to name who Satan was in the world. He dropped down dead just before he revealed the name.
Oh.
Speaking of discordant note...
Did he have information that would lead to the exposing of Hillary Rodham Clinton then, did he?
Yeah, because he was going to talk about Satan. Dom Africa says, have you heard about the Aztec death whistle? Yeah, they're horrible. Absolutely vile. I think we're caught up with the rest of the chat now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we need to talk about the miracle, the Fortean thing of how we managed to make this episode last 2 hours, because neither of us were feeling it well.
I didn't have an hour in me. I definitely didn't have 2.
No. And Fraser had none in him because he's dead, like Warwick Davis.
He's fucking dead. You're laughing.
Rest in peace.
He's laughing and you're dead.
Yeah. He's laughing and you're laughing and he's laughing and she's fucking dead, you cunt.
Oh, remember, don't say in a bit. This fucking cough is just... I've had enough now. I don't want to stop the world. I want to get off.
Have you had a hot toddy?
No, but I've been having quite a lot of sleep. So,
have you had lemon and honey?
I was having lem sips at the start, but I've kind of dropped out of that.
Lemon and honey.
The worst of the it's just like the cough draining me. It's not like the cold's doing me anymore. It's like the cough's just draining me. Did Fraser know Satan
Oh,
is? Oh shit! Did Fraser know
yeah.
Satan what Satan is?
Actually, go to the pharmacy. I'm pretty sure most pharmacies sell a variant of this. Glycerin, and it's got glucose syrup, sometimes honey, and lemon flavour.
Yeah.
It's absolutely delicious, and the glycerin will soothe your throat.
It's not. It's not even
You
that.
can do.
I've haven't even got a bad throat. It's just the cough. Is just the constant coughing is just absolutely draining me. I think
Well,
that's what it is.
yeah. Well, you can do what my chef friend suggests, where ginger, turmeric, black pepper, lemon juice, and honey. Put that all together in a saucepan, heat it up, and get it down. Yeah.
Oh fucking hell! That sounds like it's going to kill or cure. That sort of thing does.
It's the basis of a panacea curry. So yeah.
Fucking hell! You seen this tweet? What the first things to do in a hotel? It's like literally fucking barricade yourself in and then run your fucking bug checking devices.
Smear shit over the walls. Strew some bricks around. Have an advert.
Hell, talk about. I've just retweeted it, Hobbit. It's fucking amazing. This is. It's like by the time you finished all this, it'd be time to check out again.
You're not at the top of my list. Saint Scuggy is.
Yeah, he's been weird again, is he?
Oh, there we go. Best put my Swedish passport in the photo. That'll stop people calling me Colombian.
Yeah.
Oh, the Hellenist. Have you seen this guy?
I said more like the hella gayest.
Well, isn't he a bit like can I mention the academic agent and the corner shop where he may come from?
Yeah,
corner shop agent. Yeah. Sir H. Grey, why are you not on my list? Oh, keeping kosher. Oh, I love these loopholes. They're great. You can trick God by like hiding things from him.
Oh boy, Hobbit, are you ready for the new M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong movie?
I'm still not like over the first ones yet. They should be like, look, M. Night Shyamalan doesn't get to release a new film.
He's still living off of The Sixth Sense. To be fair, he did quite well with the Unbreakable and the follow-ups.
Let's have a look. Sir H. Grey. So if I type in Sir H. Grey, Sir Chris Hoy, you're not following each other.
That's not me.
What's the first thing you do in a hotel room? You put some coins on things.
You found that video now then.
A bottle opener. I don't like her with the stupid nails. That annoys me. And then you're running your tricorder over the telephones and
tricorder
pockets, and any sort of electrical appliances. Putting a doorstop in because you don't want to get like.
After you've done all that, it's time to check out again, isn't it? It's like, oh look, it's morning.
Like, why are you going into a hotel if you're just like going around like doing all this stuff? You need to be in the padded cell.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a healthy level of fear that you should have, but I think that's going into absolute fucking mind-bending paranoia.
I just want to put these people in a padded cell.
Holy shit! There's a goat walking around on two legs, Hobbit.
Oh, that's the devil goat. That's what Fraser saw before he died. Oh. That was a good episode.
Yeah. Are we all done?
I like the bit where we talked about India.
Yeah.